comics.
You are all weirdos.
Weird science
is the revolution.
Weird science
is the revolution.
Weird science
is the revolution.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Weird Science Comics YouTube channel.
How dare you?
And we're going to be going through an issue that I haven't heard that many people talking about. It is Secret Invasion #1. And Secret Invasion #1 is written by Ryan North, pencils and inks by Francesco Mobili, colors by Jordi Belair, letters by Joe Caramagna. And it's kind of a tough deal. You know, Ryan North has to tell a story that usually really lies heavily on or relies heavily on tension, fear, hysteria. And to do that in a 5-issue mini that is just called Secret Invasion, scroll on the cover. Okay, how are we going to do this? He has to put the pedal to the metal here. You got to get things going. And by the end of the issue, he does set up that paranoia that will, you know, carry this forward. By the end, though, I don't know if I'm going to go on with it myself. I probably will read the next issue. It's well done. It just doesn't interest me that much. It's kind of a boring issue, even though I thought it was a clever way that Ryan North does go about, because what you end up having is kind of a 2-part story. You have a flashback of Nick Fury going to Iowa to investigate a Skrull appearance. And this is freelance Nick Fury. There is no S.H.I.E.L.D. anymore, so he's just there. You know, the Skrull stuff, it's very personal, so he's going to show up in Iowa to check it out. In the meantime, in the present, he has gone to talk to Maria Hill, his old S.H.I.E.L.D. buddy, to talk about what had happened and if this is indeed the beginning of a Skrull invasion. And you end up having a story in the flashback in Iowa where Nick goes and a family, a mom and her 2 kids, they had called because her husband had died and they think the husband was a Skrull. And they end up, it's a really crazy beginning because you end up, oh, come on in, I want to show you. It's a great day. My husband died and look, isn't it great? He's a Skrull. And now we can find a real husband / father. Now, the problem is the semantics of this aren't really working because Skrulls revert back to Skrulls when they die. This guy hasn't, and the guy's probably dead anyway. If a Skrull takes you over, they usually kill you. So there's a lot of problems with that, and what ends up happening is as you go through this, and Nick Fury in the present does go to talk to Maria Hill about what happened, and you see him go through all, you know, the steps to get into the CIA deal. He gets an eye scan. He's yelling at this new front desk guard. Very Nick Fury-esque, very Samuel L. Jackson-esque, as he then goes in to talk to Maria to tell what happened back in Iowa. So you get this play, and you kind of feel sad and bad for this family because they end up saying, well, we know that he was a Skrull because he really wasn't acting right. Me and him were getting into arguments, and also he wasn't really paying attention to the kids, stuff like that. So he had to be a Skrull, right? He couldn't just be a piece of crap. I was waiting for the next step as he went down in the basement and recorded 1 million podcasts. All I could hear is Blackpink playing from down there. I'm like, oh my God, my ears are burning. And I know what would happen with me. If you ended up getting a Skrull impersonate me, they don't have our memories. Remember, I think the Skrull would end up really pissing me off. Now, I guess from beyond the grave, but still pissing me off because he'd probably be a better father than me. My kids would probably love Skrull Dad. And then somehow I wouldn't be dead. All of a sudden, I come back, and now I'm in court. They're deciding to go with Skrull Dad. I'm just left out there. Now, with that, hopefully, they allow me to live with them with Skrull Dad. And then we could have a sitcom, you know, almost my 2 dads, but one's a Skrull, a little odd couple deal. But I think that all in all, I think I'd be a very bad influence on Skrull Dad. Skrull Dad would end up turning into me, and I wouldn't mind because Skrull Dad, he could do half of the podcasts I do, lighten the load on me, and I could listen to more Blackpink. That's what'll happen by the end. But you kind of feel sad because you see, like, oh, this is just stages of grief. They've heard about the Skrulls, and even Nick says to Maria, they didn't quite get all the info. of what happens when a scroll dies and when they take over. And so Maria, while she's talking to Nick, oh, so what did you do? Did you let them down? Did you end up saying in front of the kids not awful stuff? Oh, no, no. I told them I'd look into it. And then, oh, you old softy. And they're talking, and at this point, everything's kosher, everything's good. But then the story starts to change, and this is where you get that twist that I thought was pretty cool, where while Nick is telling the story to Maria, we're seeing the flashback is going wrong. And he's saying to Maria, oh, it was great. They ended up, wanting me to stay for lunch. I'm the hero, Nick Fury. Hey, and they made me peanut butter and jelly. I even had a glass of milk. And you know what? I told him I'd look into it, and I think everything will be A-okay. But in the flashbacks, that's not what happened. Nick ended up, when he sat down to eat what was probably going to be peanut butter and jelly, he looks at a picture and sees that these kids and the mother are wearing the exact same clothes as the one family picture that they have with the dad who's alive at that point. So he knows right now they're scrolls. This is actually a trap. And he freaks out. Scrolls are pretty tough. The kids' scrolls just go at him. It's like children of the corn. They end up attacking him. He tries to get away. Unfortunately, he can't. So this is at the point where you realize, oh yeah, the Nick Fury talking to Maria Hill, that's the scroll. The invasion is completely on. So you see that, and you even have this Danny, the slash scroll mother. They end up reverting to their scroll form and says, usually we kill the people, but we're going to keep you alive. You're pretty important. That's kind of a convenience type thing. You're not going to kill Nick Fury. But in that, you are like, oh my God, Maria Hill, they're done. The invasion's on. She's talking to Nick and ends up at a point, maybe it's when she asked, okay, are you okay? Tell me, how are you really feeling? There's some code being said here that's an old shield thing between those two. They're shield buddies. And this is something where Maria says, we had this set up, me and Nick, because if we thought one or the other was compromised, we'd have this little code word. Now, Nick going off to investigate some scroll stuff, you're going to want to do this when he comes back. And if it is Nick, he's going to laugh. Yeah, oh man, yeah, do the code phrase, the back and forth phrasing, and then laugh about it. Man, Maria, I thought you forgot about that. Or, you never trust anybody. So the problem is, though, the Nick Fury here doesn't respond in the way that Maria knows that he should, and she ends up pressing the old classic red button. And yeah, the SWAT team comes in and takes Nick, and Maria even grabs a gun out of her desk, points it right at Nick's face, and says, what did you do? Where's Nick? This is ridiculous. And in my mind, Maria must think that the real Nick Fury right now is dead. So she's pissed. They get the scroll, Nick Fury, take him away and put them in a prison and then start to interrogate him. But the scroll is kind of just at first, oh no, it's me. It is Nick. Oh my God, you're going with that shield stuff. Shield's dead. And Maria says, Nick never forgets a secret. There's no way. And it's funny kind of going with the secret invasion type play there too. But the big thing here is that there's a bunch of Nicks at all of these places around everywhere. The FBI building, the NSA headquarters, the Department of Homeland Security, everywhere that there's somewhere a scroll would want to infiltrate. They're now Nick Fury. They're all being taken down simultaneously as Maria gets the word out. So she says to the scroll, okay, your secret invasion's over. Stop it. Tell your stupid emperor that it didn't work. It didn't work the last time. It's not going to work now. We're smarter now. We have things set up. And the scroll starts laughing. Oh, you really think that Nick Fury's the only one we impersonated? Oh, that's so cute. So cute of you, Maria Hill. And almost alludes to the idea that the Avengers might be compromised. So Maria's going to have to get a hold of them. I don't think that she has her little special phrases with them. So she's just got to rely on them figuring it out amongst themselves. And when she calls, there's a version of the Danger Room that Tony set up. Kind of quippy deal. Actually, this page for a couple of the panels is one of the better Avengers scenes that we've gotten in quite some time. That is shade to the Jason Aaron Avengers book, but it's decent enough. But yeah, they end up, all right, well, scrolls, we're going to have to figure this out. But none of us could possibly be compromise, right? Right? New Phoenix, right, Echo? Right? Captain Marvel, who always ends up being mind controlled or duplicated. My money is actually on Captain Marvel Carol for being the one that is ending up a scroll, but that would be too much on the money of everything that we keep doing with her. And they always end up, she's duplicated so that you can push the idea that she could take down all the team. I go with the idea that really by this point, how many times it's happened, she might be the weakest willed of them all. You can kind of go glass half full, half empty here. And the idea that she keeps in her own book and the Avengers book, she keeps getting duplicated. She keeps getting mind controlled. So we'll see how it is. But is it T'Challa? Maybe that would explain why John Ridley's Black Panther book really sucks. It's been him all along. Or Black Widows, there you have Captain America, Steve Rogers, and also Iron Man, Tony Stark. I'm going to go with Tony Stark. I don't know. Maybe we can make some bets on it because what happens here is none of us are compromised. We're the Avengers for crying out loud. Hey, everybody, let's take a breather. They all go and walk off, and how Ryan North plays this whole deal at the end with the cliffhanger is one of them. We don't know which then is revealed. Oh no, Scroll. So there we go. We'll have to figure it out. But that's the paranoia, the hysteria, and the fear and tension that you want to get from these secret invasions. So I'm talking about it. And as I'm talking about it, I'm liking it a little bit more. But by the end, do we need a secret invasion? Is it something that I want to get involved with? Even if it's only 5 issues, I said I'm going to read the next issue. And if it ends up being decent enough, I'll just keep continuing until either I don't think this is ever going to be bad enough to upset me. I just think I'll get bored with it. So we'll see if I can get through 5 issues. But overall, it's okay. It's actually a decent start. Like I said, it's not really my thing, so maybe that's the problem. But it's easy to read, and I think that where Ryan North does end up doing a good job at points is because he's more of an all ages writer. It's not that he dumbs things down, but he has to present it clearly, and he does here. It actually is a pretty cool story with a little twist at mid level in the middle of the comic, and then you get a twist for the cliffhanger at the end. So overall, I think I'm going to give it a solid 7.5 out of 10.